Vegan.
1, 2,
3. Welcome to the Vegan123 show with me, Berty Justice. We will be streaming on soundartradio.org.uk and 102.5 FM for those that are close enough to the signal. And today's show is going to be, I'm going to touch on quite a few different topics as usual, but we're in November right now, and November is World Vegan Month. And just to give you a little bit of context where I am now, I'm at home, I've got some mint tea next to me, so you might hear the occasional slurp of that. The mint was picked by my neighbour, which is lovely, from her allotment, and it's organic because they don't use any pesticides. And so World Vegan Month is a celebration of the philosophy that is veganism. And what I'm going to do now is just give you guys the original manifesto from the Vegan Society, and it kind of outlines what veganism is, because sometimes we get a little bit our ideas about veganism can go wayward, they can go all over the place, but what's good is to bring it back, and these are the original manifesto from the Vegan Society, and their statement goes like this. Veganism, a philosophy and way of living which seeks to exclude, as far as is possible and practicable, all forms of exploitation of and cruelty to animals for food, clothing or any other purpose, and by extension promotes the development and use of animal-free alternatives for the benefit of humans, animals and the environment. In dietary terms, it denotes the practice of dispensing with all products derived wholly or partly from animals. So that's an in-depth explanation, and for those that don't know, veganism started in 1944. What I mean by that is that before that time, people may have lived a vegan lifestyle, but they may not have used that term for it, or they might have done it without realizing. For me as an individual, trying to cause the least amount of harm to animals within my life makes absolute sense, and so I really like the fact that now there is a philosophy that matches my outlook on the world and gives us kind of like a template to aim for, because the majority of people that I've met in life don't want to see animals be killed, and don't want to see needless violence, and don't want to see needless suffering. But the majority of them haven't made that connection, that actually to their inner feelings are actually something that they're not living. So animals are I would say the core of veganism, because it's about not hurting them. And as you start to investigate veganism more and more, you learn that there's different layers to it. So there's an element that's to do with the environment, there's an element that is to do with human health, and as I said, the core, which is about the animals. And then it kind of like extends like, actually, makeup makes me look nice, but do I need to rub some makeup into a rabbit's eyes to see if it hurts the rabbit before I can put the makeup on? It's kind of like, it's something that we don't really think about deeply, and it's something that's not needed. Animal testing and lots of other things, and eating animals, are things that we don't need to do. They are things that we that we have done, and some people still do, but it's not something that is needed as a human being. And I'm going to now jump to a track, the first track of the day, and the track is called Black Sands, and it is by Bonobo. Go check out the rest of Bonobo's work. Very chilled, very relaxing, really awesome music that he has created. Interestingly enough, some of his tracks he plays every instrument on the track. Some of the things that he creates. So multi-talented Bonobo there. Bonobo is also an animal. It's a type of monkey. So yeah, another animal connection for the Vegan123 show. And so yeah, World Vegan Month is a dedication to the awesome philosophy. I outlined the beginnings from the manifesto. And it's kind of like a nudge. It's a push and a celebration of something that is trying to do good in the world, causing less suffering and causing less killing of animals. Is a no-brainer, really. And unfortunately, a lot of people they won't want to hear this, but they are living in hypocrisy, and they may use terms like that they are animal lovers, but they are not. We are not animal lovers if we also pay people to kill animals. We can't love them and eat them at the same time. This is a harsh reality that we need to ask these questions to ourselves and answer them honestly. Can I really be an animal lover at the same time as paying somebody to end an animal's life really young so that I may be able to have a sandwich or some sliced up bit of animal? Or, today is a Sunday. Traditionally in the UK, we roast a chicken. So an animal that might only be 6 weeks old or 8 weeks old. A very fraction of their full life is killed in a very, I think it's weird. In whatever way to kill an animal that doesn't want to die is weird. But there are lots of dark, weird practices that you can look up yourself. And then we end this animal's life. We breed them first, and then we fatten them up, and then get them to a point. It's about economics. It's not about giving them a real good life, because that would allow those animals to live the full of their life. And then we kill the animal, and then somebody buys the animal, and then they put it in an oven, and they may stuff it full of other food, and then put gravy on it. And the harsh reality is that was someone. That was an individual, and we are taken away from that. We live in a bubble. We live in our own little worlds, and we don't question what is on our plates. And something that came to me this week, one of my friends sort of promotes this a lot, and peace begins on our plates. If we want to have peace in our life, and we want to have less violence and less suffering and less killing, the best place to start is on our dinner plates. And we as consumers, we push the market. So if we as consumers and go and just change a little bit of what we eat to eat less animals, it will have this positive knock-on effect. And it's never been easier. You'll hear me saying this a lot of times. It's never been easier to be a vegan, and it's not hard. If you just basically switch, so whatever you had for dinner, or whatever you have for breakfast, whatever you have for lunch in general, just find a vegan version that you like the taste of, and then put it in there. And then people say, oh, it's really hard to eat in restaurants. Well, some people say it is, but really they haven't actually done the effort. It's simply, I could pick up my phone now, ring up the Chinese that's very close to my house and say, what vegan options do you have? And they would give me a list, and then I would go and buy that. That is less than 30 seconds, so that's not hard. Growing my own food, that's hard. Asking a restaurant if they have a vegan option. And I've been to loads of restaurants before, and I asked them if they could make me up something slightly different, and they were happy to do that. So they are good chefs. If they haven't quite got what you want, you can ask for something slightly different to be made. But the point is that there is options, but the reality is that human beings have to put action into what they're doing and change. And some people don't want to do that, but that doesn't change the fact that killing animals is wrong. Just because somebody doesn't want to change doesn't change the action being right or wrong. And so there's so many resources out there in the world to help people. And Chris brought up this interesting point last time, is that some people can feel a little bit alienated when they say that they're vegan, or say to their parents that they might want to go pescatarian, or they might want to go vegetarian. That their parents don't support them. And from my perspective, my parents haven't always supported my decisions and the things that I want to do, and they haven't been helpful. Maybe when I've been vegan or transitioning towards vegan, they haven't been helpful. In fact, they've been the opposite in some cases. So I understand that it's harder when your family don't support you in the decisions you make, whether it's veganism or whether it's whatever decision you make. If you make that decision but your family aren't supporting you, then what you need to do, it doesn't mean that your decision is wrong, it's just unfortunate that they don't support you at the time. And what you then need to do is, what helped for me is finding a few sort of resources and sort of things that allowed the process to be easier for me. So in my case, what this included is I had friends who were vegetarian and I had friends who were vegan when I was transitioning. And so when I wasn't getting support from family members who weren't supportive, who sort of like, you're going to get ill, you're going to do this, you can't do that, you're making it awkward. And they brought up all these problems, or their perceived problems. But the reality is that you can be vegan and be healthy. So that's a non-argument. Or what about this nutrient? That's what used to come up sometimes. That there is every nutrient that you need in a vegan lifestyle. You're making it awkward. Well, actually, I've used this analogy before, where veganism gets put under the microscope and under the sort of magnifying glass, like you're making it difficult, or you're gonna lack nutrients, or why are you so awkward? Actually, it's not that awkward. B, there's every nutrient you need in a vegan diet. And C, I want to do this, and I want you to be supportive of me. And this lifestyle makes a lot of sense to me. And in my case, I feel uncomfortable being around animal products. I feel uncomfortable seeing animal products. And I don't like people eating dead animals in front of me, or bits of animals. So actually, I would like you to respect me and support me and be like, actually, yeah, I do understand. I do understand that gas chambers and killing baby chicks and artificial insemination are weird. And yes, I can sympathise and empathise that those things make you feel uncomfortable. So I'm not going to make the situation worse for you. But if you're not getting that from your friends or your family, then you find friends that can do that for you, that will support you regardless of tradition or the fact that somebody's going to have to make different meals. And leading on from that, so some people say that, it's so difficult, you've made it harder we've now got to cook something different. For me, I'm quite good at cooking, so what I will do is I'll offer to cook instead. I often say I'll cook so that I don't have to cook or be around as many dead bits of animals or animal products. And so if somebody says, you're making it really awkward, I'm going to have to cook more, you'd be like, well, actually, I'm happy to cook, or I'm happy to help, or I'll cook my own dish. It's if you're at that age, I understand that it's not. This doesn't create a solution for everyone, but there will be people that are able to try out some veggie sausages instead, or some veggie mince. And the other thing is with friends and family is it can feel frustrating that you've made this really amazing connection and you've chosen this lifestyle that makes the world a better place. And when those around you don't get it, mock it, or are not supportive, it can kind of put you off doing something positive. You're like, it's creating negative reactions. You need to try and get past the fact that it makes a negative reaction, because when we buy animal products, that creates a negative reaction, and it's about being true to yourself. And in my case, I have disconnected myself, or not spent as much time and sort of disconnected relationships with people because they became so toxic around my personal positive choice. And so I'm trying to give you guys solutions, and solutions are: make contact with people, your friends and family who are already vegan and vegetarian. Spend more time with those that are supportive of what you're doing. And also there are online groups. So there's a group one of my friends runs a group online called How to Go Plant-Based. And it's a really supportive group on there. There's also amazing resources at Veganuary.com. And also find if you are on Facebook, you can there are local vegan and vegetarian groups, and they're very supportive, and they'll, if you have like a specific question like, my family keep talking about protein, then someone in the group might say, well, these, lentils and beans and soya and other legumes are very high in protein, and if you're taking out pig sausages or pig bacon, then you can replace them with veggie sausages, and the veggie sausages will give you as much protein as those other ones. And then you're not on your own. Sometimes it can seem as individuals that when we make this positive lifestyle choice that we're on our own. But the reality is that there are millions of vegans in the world. I know it sounds ludicrous, especially when you are an individual, but there are millions of vegans, so it's a huge community. And so it takes away that feeling that you're stuck, you can't find the answers, you're frustrated that your family aren't supporting you. And in my case, my family weren't supportive of me in lots of topics, but you won't. In my case, I moved out and I don't live with my family. So when I was at home, I never pictured myself living at home. I felt like I was always going to be in this sort of frustrating position where I had these people around me who didn't support what I was doing. But now I don't live with them, and it's great because you don't have to be around people that don't support you and don't lift you up. It's negative to be around people that drag you down, put you down, ignore what you're saying, belittle you, and aren't interested in your lifestyle, especially in a lifestyle that doesn't actually affect their lives in a massive way. You know what I mean? They may have to like buy in different food, but they could see it as like, oh wow, my son or daughter has found something that they're really interested in and means a lot to them. I can support them through this. It's about turning it around, because a lot of onus is on that vegans are the problem, but actually it's changing what we eat to be more positive and causing less suffering to animals is a positive thing, and more people need to be supportive of that. And as I said, so find friends and family who are more supportive, and anybody's welcome to message me if they do. I've had people message me before with like certain questions, but so that you don't feel alone, and so that and also as I said, focusing on that point. You know, you might have an opportunity to go to university, you might have an opportunity to move out with some friends, you might have an opportunity to do an apprenticeship somewhere else. At that point, you are then independent, and you can buy what you want and you can eat what you want. And so it takes you out of that stuck mindset that you may think that you're in at the moment, but it's not forever, and you can move out and then, as I said, develop stronger relationships with those that are more supportive. And as I said, there's Plymouth Vegans, there is all sorts of vegan groups in Devon, and wherever you are in the world. Go and do some meetups with them. Potlucks are usually a good thing. That's where you bring a dish, share food, and socialise with like-minded people. There's extra vegan fairs that will hopefully be starting up again. Hundreds of like-minded people. There's talks, there's stalls, there's workshops, there's food, and so it takes you out of that frustrated feeling that you are like stuck and alone. And I'm now going to go and pull up another track, and this time I'm going to choose Andorra Skyline by Stumbleline. So to follow on from last month's episode, the veggie ban motion, the law that was trying to be pushed through to ban the use of term burger when you're talking about a veggie burger. Naughty. It didn't get passed, which, you know, logic and sanity prevailed, and that motion wasn't allowed to ban using the term burger. And I'm just going to, even if they did, I'd still use the term burger because no one owns the term. But what it means is that it's a positive, sanity has prevailed, and so that's really positive. And following on from that, at the moment, VegFest, for those that don't know, VegFest are one of the UK's biggest festival organisers. They do, they create events that allow people like us, a little bit like what we do at Exeter Vegan Fair, where they have stalls, they have speakers, they have talks, workshops, everything vegan, basically, to sort of educate people and show them what a positive thing a vegan lifestyle is. And this weekend they have done a online festival, and they'll be doing more festivals going forward in the future, with at events and also online events. And their videos are free to go and check out whenever you want on YouTube, and they are really interesting and educational. So they have experts from across the UK, and in fact, it's not just UK, it's the world, vegans from around the world. And there's all sorts of amazing topics and interesting areas to explore. So go check them out on vegfest.co.uk. And keep an eye out for Exeter Vegan Market and the potential upcoming Totnes Vegan Markets and the other vegan markets that should hopefully be starting up soon. And connected to Totnes, so there is a company, they're called Rerooted Organic, and their website rerootedorganic.co.uk has all the information about their company. And my perception of them is that what they've created is milk to your door. But what the slight twist, so back in the day, some of the listeners now will remember that there used to be a milkman that used to come round and drop off his glass bottles at your door before you woke up. And what Rerooted have done is they've created a dairy-free delivery to your door. So they have a collection of plant milks, and if you go onto their website, you can find out if they can deliver to you. They deliver down to Torquay, they deliver to Ivy Bridge, Kingsbridge, and lots of other areas. Obviously, they deliver into Totnes as well. But go check them out. Go check out their amazing products. And yeah, for me, it's fascinating. It's really, really awesome that the tide is changing. So back in the day, it was cow's milk that got delivered to your door. But now you have this dairy-free delivery company delivering plant milks to people's doors, and it's a sign of the times, and it's really, really positive, that we now have this humongous, gigantic plant industry. And what I mean by plant industry is pretty much every product that you want to eat that tastes of animal flesh. Let's say you like burgers, you like chicken, you like nuggets, you like sausages, you like bacon. There are plant companies that now produce a vegan version for nearly everything you like. So these guys, the group Rerooted Organic, they do dairy-free milks. And recently I had Vivera, had some bacon pieces by Vivera, and I was eating it and I was like, is that actually made of a pig? Because it's tasted so similar. So the technology and the ability to produce plant-based foods is at a point where it's never been before. And it's just a massive highlight that we now have all the tastes that we had before. So why isn't everybody now getting on board and changing their lifestyle so that they cause less suffering and less harm? And it reminds me, this leads on to the next sort of topic, and that is the next, what I found is that there have been a lot of questions that get sort of presented to vegans and vegetarians and non-meat eaters, and a lot of them are, I call them baseless. And so what baseless means is that it's either a question or an argument that isn't based on facts. It doesn't have any substance. It doesn't make any sense. But it is something that has become tradition and become part of what everybody thinks. But actually we need to sit down logically and as adults and as compassionate human beings and be like, well, that actually doesn't make any sense. So why am I continuing to regurgitate that phrase or that rhetoric? And one that often gets brought up when you're discussing about veganism is the term live and let live. And what people mean by this is they're just like, yeah, well, just let it go, man. Just let it go. Just let people live their lives and do what they want. Just live and let live, man. Don't rock the boat. Don't make it stressy, man. Live and let live. The irony of that statement is that it's a vegan statement at its core. Vegans are saying live your life and let other animals live your life. When meat eaters or non-vegans use that term, they're not, what their actions are different to live and let live. Their actions are, I'm going to live and I'm going to end somebody else's life. So it's live and let die. It's not live and let live. If you're a meat eater or somebody who eats animal products, you live and let die. You live your life by killing other animals, paying other people to kill animals for you. So actually live and let live, yes, live and let live. Live your life and allow as many other beings on this planet to live their lives at the same time. Therefore, live your life and don't pay other people to kill animals on your behalf. Hence, so that's why that statement is baseless. I mean, it's actually a vegan argument, but has in the past been used against vegans and vegetarians, but isn't factual at all. And another classic is my personal choice. So with these statements, it's often when they don't really have a strong argument, it's my personal choice. My personal choice is, I could use that for anything. So racism and sexism are bad. They are not good things. But I could say that they're my personal... So if I made a racist statement, which I don't, but for the sakes of this, let's say that I did. I could say, if somebody says that's not right because racism is wrong, I could say, well, that's my personal choice. And the reality is that eating meat is a choice that anyone can make. But personal is not the right term, because when you say personal, it's something that only affects you. But when when somebody or anyone chooses to eat animal products, there is somebody else that gets affected. Animals lose their lives so that we can eat bits of their bodies, and so it's no longer a personal choice. It's not at all. Again, this is a baseless argument. And similarly, as you live a vegan lifestyle, you get the same questions over and over again. You get, where'd you get your protein from? Simple answer, from plants. Where'd you get your calcium from? Simple answer, from plants. And another one that often gets brought up is that is sort of aimed towards vegans, is that vegans eat palm oil, therefore vegans destroy rainforests. And it's interesting. So the reality is that for some palm oil products, yes, land is destroyed. For every product, generally, that humans eat, where humans live, land has been destroyed. So what, are we going to not live? Are we going to not live in houses anymore because the houses that we live in destroyed land? But specifically for palm oil, animal agriculture is destroying more land, more rainforests than the vegan percentage of eating palm oil. And so then that's when the argument could be turned on its head. As somebody who eats animal products, are you going to not eat those animal products because of the negative effects that your diet is causing? And Cowspiracy is a great documentary that goes into the levels that our food choices are destroying our environments. And you can look into it yourself. Large parts of the Amazon rainforest are being destroyed for animal agriculture, growing soy to feed to cows, and the oceans are being destroyed. And that's not from vegans. It's not from vegans. It's from non-vegans. And so, yeah, it gets turned on its head. And yes, with palm oil, it's not actually a vegan issue specifically. Palm oil is in non-vegan products as well, and it's a human being issue. It's not a it's a human beings living on Earth issue, not a vegans eating products with palm oil in. And the reality is that you don't need to eat palm oil as a vegan. And also, if palm oil is actually one of the most sustainable oils if you look into it. So if you're against palm oil, then you should also be against all the other oils, because they also destroy rainforests and stuff like that. But the reality is that it's good to have these discussions about the environment, but there shouldn't be this massive magnifying glass over veganism. In actual fact, there should be a massive magnifying glass over animal products. Like I've said in many things before, animal products usually use more resources than plant products do, and they generally use more water, they destroy more oceans, and they destroy more rainforests. So yes, let's have these discussions about the environment, but we need to talk about everything, not just the vegan palm oil tiny little percentage, especially when palm oil isn't as devastating as animal agriculture is. The next track for today is called Hit the Road Jack, and it is by Ed Solo and Decline. And it actually comes from my friend's daughter. Shout out to Elsie and Mr. and Mrs. Cameron. Elsie is 3 years old and has a really awesome taste of music, and this includes some really awesome drum and bass. So this track is dedicated to Elsie. What a cool track that was. And next month, so the next Vegan123 show, I will be interviewing Abby Woodbridge, and she is a filmmaker and educator, and she's involved with several really positive projects at the moment. So tune in next month to check out what I discuss with Abby, and it's going to be really, really exciting. I'm really looking forward to that one. And I'm going to bring it back to the Vegan Society. I'm going to bring it back to the World Vegan Month, because we're currently in World Vegan Month. That is November. And, the celebration of the amazing philosophy. The philosophy which seeks to exclude exploitation of animals in everyday life, in all the different ways that we use animals. It is aimed at creating a more compassionate world with less suffering, with less death, with less killing. Makes a lot of sense. And so it's a celebration of veganism, and the great thing about it is that it is inclusive of everyone. What I mean by that is it's something that everyone can do, and everybody is, will be supported and welcomed to do. It's amazing, really, when you start looking into it. So this is an opportunity for those that don't know about it to delve into it, because 12 years ago I was bumbling along in my life, and I needed this nudge. In my case, it was somebody selling a book, and we all need this nudge, this wake-up call to be like, what are we doing with our lives? And in my case, I was ignoring where my food was coming from. I was ignoring the fact that I was eating dead animals and bits of their bodies and their secretions and congealed bits of when I was eating cheese, I was eating congealed, sort of pasteurized udder milk. Do you know what I mean? It's I wasn't a baby calf, but I was content with consuming baby calf growth fluid past weaning, and only now, as I look back, how crazy it was that I was consuming the fluid of another mammal, and I didn't want to know about it. I was living in pure ignorance. I've said it before in this. I had my bacon-tinged glasses, so I was looking at the world and seeing what I could add bacon to it. And as individuals, we need to take off these glasses and look at our dinner plates. And if we're still eating animal products, we have to think, where did this come from? Did it come from an individual that lost their life? Does that sit comfortably with me as an individual to be eating a part of somebody else's flesh? In fact, specifically, when we eat animal products, we're eating decaying flesh and secretions and bits of mammary glands, and it's like mammary glands isn't the right. Some people eat the mammary glands, but not really. But the point is that we're eating bits of somebody else that probably didn't have a nice death and probably didn't have a very long, nice life. And so the question we need to ask ourselves is, why are we continuing to support an industry that that inflicts violence and inflicts suffering and unhappiness on animals that can feel pain and can suffer and have similar makeup to us? If I took a baby away from one of my friends, they would be distressed. And when I say take away, I mean take away and never returned. Similarly, when we take a baby away from a cow, a mother cow and her baby calf, when we take the calf away, the mum gets distressed, the calf gets distressed, and we have to think logically as rational human beings and think, why am I doing this? Why am I contributing to the suffering of others when I don't need to? Why am I putting them through this for a taste pleasure that I can get from somewhere else? And this is my view on things. This is how I perceive. When I go down a meat aisle now, I see death and I see suffering and I see blood from other individuals. And when I see milk, I think of baby calves being separated from their parents for a drink that is 20 centimeters away from another product that is made of plants, that hasn't broken up families and hasn't killed animals directly in the process. So we need this wake-up call. We need this nudge to be like, what is the more compassionate option? Almond milk that hasn't taken away baby calves from mothers, or cow's milk that formerly belonged to a mother cow and was designed to go for a baby calf and has loads of hormones in that I don't need as a human being, and some of them are detrimental to my being. Why we have this choice? The power is in our hands. But because we are subdued with our own lives, it's hard to break out of that break out of that hypnosis, that sort of this tradition that we've been living for so long. It takes a while to sort of break out of that and be like, well, actually, yeah, I'm not an animal lover if I eat animals. That statement doesn't make any sense. These aren't it's not my personal choice if I choose to eat animals, because they are somebody else, and they are personally is something that sort of obtains and means just myself, but I'm affecting others, so it's not a personal choice. Live and let live is an oxymoron and doesn't make any sense. When I eat animal products, I live and let die. And so we have to be honest, and I'm sure that's what you might have picked up from my previous shows, is that I tell it how it is. Stabbing animals, killing them, ending their lives really young for a sandwich or a steak or a burger is immoral and makes absolutely no sense to compassionate human beings. And that's the harsh reality. The harsh reality is when we buy animal products, we are separating families. We are contributing to that system, and we are a part of it. The blood might not be on our hands directly, but when we buy animal products, we are part of that system, and we are contributing to it. So we need to take responsibility for our own actions. And the wake-up call is that it's November 2020, and it's World Vegan Month. So this is an opportunity for you to research into what veganism is, and there's thousands of recipes online, there's thousands of videos about how to transition your diet so that you can make vegan food. There's thousands of products available out there. You as an individual have this opportunity to be like, well, actually, yeah, what is my life about? If my life involves contributing to a system that stabs animals and kills animals and puts animals in gas chambers and kills these animals really young, separates families, untold, unimaginable amounts of suffering and death and unhappiness, why am I still part of that system? Why don't I take myself out of that system? Is it compassionate to pay other people to kill animals? I believe no. Can I really call myself a compassionate person if I just ignore the fact that my food choices are hurting others? And this is, it's a wake-up call, and there is so many positive things to veganism. It's better for the environment, it's better for our health, and it's better for the animals. Vegan123, that's what this whole show is around. And leading on from November, so November is World Vegan Month. In January there is Veganuary, so I mentioned it last time and on other shows. So for those that don't know, Veganuary is a vegan challenge for January. So some people go sober, some people try and become fitter, some people stop smoking, and for some people they stop eating animal products. And Veganuary have helped hundreds of thousands of people to try the challenge. Hundreds of thousands of people. So they have resources, they have support, they have ideas, they have food options, and veganuary.com. Go check it out for yourselves. And some people need that challenge. So they thrive on having a goal to achieve, and so maybe Veganuary is for you. Maybe Veganuary is the thing that you need. Some people some people know that veganism makes a lot of sense and they transition in their own time and they do it their own way. But Veganuary is a Kickstarter. It's a very positive idea and a way of a way into the lifestyle. And so yeah, it's there for everyone to use. It's free, and why not join the community that is made up of millions of individuals living a vegan lifestyle. And yeah, so on full circle, so veganism, World Vegan Month being November, veganism started in 1944 by a group of people that wanted to give a term to the lifestyle that they were living, and so they coined the term veganism and set the stage, set out a path for everyone to recognise and to also obtain. And at its core, it's about from my perspective, it's about making the world a more positive place, and that's what it can be. It can be a philosophy that will make the world a more positive place, because change happens on an individual level, and positive change does also happen on an individual level. If you as an individual just decide, okay, so I've looked into veganism, I don't like the slaughterhouse footage, I don't like killing animals, it makes me feel uncomfortable, even the thought of people fishing or shooting makes me feel queasy, ending the life of a random individual that was just living their life doesn't feel right to me. You can just, from now on, you can just go into a supermarket or wherever you buy your milk from and look for a plant version instead. You can go check out Rerouted and you can get plant milk if you're close enough, or you go to the places where they supply it to. You can go and get you can get it delivered to your house, or buy it yourselves, or even make it yourselves, like I've advertised in the past. These are all easy things that we can do. Even if it's just taking out pork sausages, you're like, oh, actually the idea of pigs being put into gas chambers makes me feel uncomfortable, and the majority of pigs in the UK are put through gas chambers, so actually it doesn't sit right with me. There's something weird about that. Buy veggie sausages instead. I talk about Linda McCartney sausages because they taste good, but on top of that there are multiple other really banging tasty veggie sausages out there. So you're like, yeah, I do get it. I am starting to connect the dots, and yeah, stabbing pigs or putting them into gas chambers doesn't make me want to eat more. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. There's this uncomfortable feeling that I'm like, actually, when I buy sausages, I'm supporting an industry that is killing and causing suffering to these animals. I'm just not going to do that anymore. Okay, what are my options? Well, there's Linda McCartney sausages. There's a whole host of veggie sausages that I could just eat instead. And then don't do it anymore. Don't be a part of that system that kills animals and puts them through it. And yeah, the onus is on us as individuals. We start. Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. So if you feel uncomfortable about people stabbing animals and ending their lives and separating families, then why not start yourself? Live your feelings, live your true feelings. If you want to be, if you perceive yourself as an animal lover, whether it's your cat, your dog, or any other animals that you've met in the world, if you truly want to be an animal lover, don't eat animals, don't eat animal products. Until you do that, you are not an animal lover, you're a pet lover. And so it's a harsh truth that we need to recognize and to take ownership and be like, yeah, I can't keep using these old aged myths and phrases that don't make any sense. Live and let live. If I really want to do that, I have to be a vegan. Or, yeah, my personal choice when I buy sausages helps kill animals. It doesn't really make much sense. I just don't need to do it. And sometimes the thinking about it can be, for some people, they become too stressed out. They become too, I've got to really worry about where I eat and what other people are going to think, blah, 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 blah. First step, when you're cooking your own meals, just start cooking them vegan. You haven't got to think about anyone else. And just do it one step at a time, and it becomes easier. It becomes easier and easier the longer you do it. It's like anything you do, it becomes easier and easier the longer you do. So overall, this has been World Vegan Month. So happy World Vegan Month to everyone in the world. And I hope some of you look into Veganuary yourselves, or look into taking out certain products yourselves, look into Rerouted Organic and all the positive things they're doing. Go check out VegFest, and also go check out, if you're interested, I've got lots of videos about all sorts of different topics on veganism. And I'm going to leave you with the track, another Ed solo track today, and the track is called Life Gets Better. It's Ed solo, School of Thought, and it comes from this awesome album called Random Acts of Kindness. How cool is that? A random act of kindness. Why not? Why not just go and give food to a homeless person, or donate to a vegan charity, or donate to a vegan sanctuary? Why not use your Christmas gift to somebody else? I've done this in the past as a donation to a sanctuary or a vegan charity that is doing positive in the world. How cool is a random act of kindness? So until next month, have a lovely time until then, and have a lovely day.